Hello there. I know it's been a while since I've posted anything on my channel, but that's thanks to a lack of ideas. And now that I have an entire series of videos planned up, I want to start with this. It's the Redmi Note 13 Pro Plus 5G. I'll be giving a quick review of what this thing is and what Xiaomi has to offer at the price of about 30,000 rupees in 2024.
Okay, so right now we'll just get a quick overview of what's in the box. It's not a sealed box because I got it from an offline store, so they do have to check if the box is fine or not, if the product is fine or not. Sorry. So, but I kept the things just the way they were in the box. First, we get this. Of course, you know what's in there. We get a standard SIM ejector. We get a case, some paperwork in there. We don't need the paperwork. Yeah, take a look at the case. So this time we don't get a transparent case, we get this matte finish gray soft case. It feels good. I'll be using this for a while before I get another good one. There we have the phone. I got this in a white color. We have two other color options, one black that has a similar glossy finish. This does look like matte finish, but honestly it's glossy, it's not a matte finish phone. And then we have a third option. It's a color block option. We have purple mainly, got green and some other colors in there. That has a vegan leather back, and the rest of the things are the same. That's what we get. We'll take a look at the phone in a second. Okay, now comes the good part. We have a charging cable. I haven't opened it yet, so I'll be opening it right here, right now. Ah shit, I'm bad at this. I am terrible at this. Yeah. So we get a type A to type C cable, standard. But this right here is the champion. We have a 120 watt charging brick in the box. Samsung, nothing, and Apple must take notes from this. A 120 watt charger in the box. So I can basically charge my laptop with this through PD charging. My laptop does have PD support through Thunderbolt 4 or USB 3.2 Gen 2. I'll be talking about my laptop in another video. So yeah, that's pretty much what you get in the box. I'll keep that aside, and we just have, well, that's what you get in the box. Okay, so now we must take a look at the phone. So this comes with a 6.67 inch AMOLED display. It's a curved display, as you can see right here. It has a refresh rate of 120 Hz, which is pretty impressive at this price point. Then it has a 16 MP front camera, as you can see right on the top. It's a punch hole camera. Now that's pretty much about the front. It has an in-display fingerprint scanner. On the back we have a 200 megapixel main sensor, 8 megapixel ultra wide sensor, and a 2 megapixel macro sensor, which does not make sense in the market. We have a dual flash on the top right here, the Redmi branding right here. Now this might look like it's a matte finish. You can see it in the reflection. The top seems glossy, the bottom seems matte, but this is entirely glossy. This is just one full patch. This just gives the illusion of it being a matte finish phone. Now you can see on the top, you might not notice here, but it's a fingerprint magnet on the top. On the bottom it does show fingerprints, but not as often as the top part, so that's a good thing. Now for the rest of the phone, on top of the phone we get the speakers, the IR sensor, and the secondary microphones. The IR sensor is a good add-on that only Xiaomi provides in most of the phones. On the bottom we have the SIM tray. It's not a hybrid tray. We do not get SD card support on this. We have the microphone, the Type-C charger that supports this bad boy right here, the 120 watt charger you get in the box, and another set of speakers. So we do have a stereo speaker setup on the phone. On the right we have the power button and the volume rockers. On the left we have absolutely nothing. So yeah, that's pretty much about the hardware. Now I'll be giving you a quick overview of the spec sheet of this phone. We have a MediaTek Dimensity 7200 Ultra processor. It's a 4 nanometer processor, which makes it quite power efficient. Now I'm not usually a huge fan follower of MediaTek, but this is my first MediaTek phone. I'll see how it goes. It has a 5000 milliamp hour battery. And the company claims that this 120-watt charger can charge it in about 19 to 20 minutes. I'll check that later. Now, the variant I chose is the white one with 8 GB of RAM and 256 GB of storage. There's two more options. There's 8 GB of RAM and 128 GB of storage. There's 12 GB of RAM, 256 GB of storage. Oh wait, I forgot. There's one more. That's 12 GB of RAM and 512 GB of storage. That does cost a bit more, somewhere around 36 to 37,000. But I felt like considering my usage, 8 GB of RAM is more than enough for me, and for most other users it is too. And 256 GB is quite an upgrade for me considering my Nord, which had a 128 GB storage limit. Now, talking about the software, this comes out of the box with Android 13 and it has MIUI 14. But recently, Xiaomi has shifted on to the HyperOS, which is supposedly better than MIUI. And a lot of experts are complaining that this particular phone should have come out with HyperOS and Android 14 because that's what's going on in the market. Now, the initial setup process should not be a hassle because MIUI is fairly simple, but now comes the caveats. The apps. You have a shit ton of bloatware in this phone when you unlock it for the first time. There's one, two, three, there's four, five. Facebook is another bloatware for me. That's six, seven. Then we have eight. Then we have 9, 10, 11, 12. About 12 apps. But if you don't use things like Amazon or Netflix or even Spotify, then that's about 15 apps. A total of 15 apps as a form of bloatware in this phone. This costs me 30,000 and I have to deal with bloatware like this, which is, well, quite a nick for a lot of people. It's okay for me because I can just sit and uninstall it. I did not set up this phone completely because I wanted to show this situation right here, the bloatware situation. Now let's get into the phone. In the about phone section, as you can see, it's MIUI 14 with Android 13. Well, I'm not sure you can see that. I like this little animation right here with the storage thing. Okay, so that's quite a bit about this software of this phone. I haven't completely tested it yet, but that's a quick overview of what you get for 30,000 rupees by Xiaomi.
Now, talking about the protection on this phone, this comes with Gorilla Glass Victus. And for this price point, it's quite awesome. Some of the high end phones do come with Gorilla Glass Victus too, but that's for the higher end phones. Victus is awesome. Now, it's of course better than the numbers like 4 or 5. This also comes with an IP68 rating, so I can pretty much submerge it in water for about 30 minutes or so without it getting damaged. It's completely waterproof and dustproof. So, for this price point, I am impressed by this. It does not support any wireless charging compared to its competitors at this price. The Motorola Edge 40, I suppose. Yeah, so that does come with around 5 watts or 15 watts of wireless charging. But you know what? The 120-watt charger does make up for it. So, yeah. Okay. So I'm up from my nap and my data is finally transferred from my old Nord to my new Note 13 Pro Plus. And it's a sad day because it's the last time I'm using this OnePlus Nord. But that's okay. And talking about the data transfers, you'll most probably have to use the MI Mover app. It's an official app by Xiaomi. And it takes about 2 hours. It took me about 2 hours based on my data, which is weird because I remember having about 108 GB worth of data on this phone, and all of a sudden it showed about 65 GB worth of data that's transferred to this new phone. But when I checked, all the data had just transferred, which I assume they used some sort of zip filing system to transfer all the data into this. The contacts are intact. There were a few changes in the names, a few misunderstandings here and there. Not exactly misunderstandings, but yeah, the names did change into some that I had earlier changed into in my Nord. That's okay, I fixed those. I checked the gallery, all the photos and videos are completely there. The apps are transferred, but the MI Mover does mention that they do not transfer any app data. So, in case you'll have to log in into your apps, you'll have to do that manually. So, I have to log in into Spotify, YouTube, basically Google, then WhatsApp, Instagram, everything I had to do it manually, which did take me some time. But that's your personal opinion. Not opinion, that's your personal issue based on how many apps you use. the kind of login procedures they follow. WhatsApp login was fairly fine, took me about 5 minutes, and now I'll be charging my phone. I'll be doing a time lapse video on the charging procedure. I'll be using the 120-watt charger that we got with the box. I keep talking about that charger so much. And one thing I did forget to mention that I realized after I recorded the whole uh, initial review is that the haptic feedback on this phone is amazing. I absolutely love it. I use it to type into my Google account, and the haptic feedback just felt amazing. Way better than the Nord. And honestly, I feel like this phone would be better than my Nord in a lot of ways, except one little feature that I will miss a lot. That is one of the reasons why I was willing to switch into another OnePlus phone. The only reason. It's on the side right here. It's the alert slider. This particular feature has made my life so easier, and that's one thing I will miss on the Xiaomi, but I'll get used to it. So you know what? Without wasting further time, we'll switch to the charging procedure, the time lapse. Okay, so I'm rather surprised. I did charge my phone after claiming to do the battery test. I put the phone on charge when it was at about 1%, and I put up a timer right next to my phone using my iPad. And I did put up another device on top of it just to get a top angle to record a time lapse video of the whole thing so I could put it in the video. I expected about a 20-minute video that would roughly convert to about a 4-minute clip, which I would have again sped up to about 30 seconds, which doesn't matter here. But I ended up waiting for about 30 minutes before I had to go out, and it was charged till about 40%, which I feel like is kind of disappointing. But there's one thing I discovered while the whole charging process. I opened the battery settings on this phone, and it showed a little option on the top, a suggestion, if you may. It's called boost charging. This is what it looks like. Boost charging. That's something you'll have to turn on before charging your phone so it can actually use up the entire 120 watts to sort of live up to the claim that the company makes. Otherwise, if you normally charge your phone, it'll take about an hour or maybe 45 minutes minimum. That's the minimum I'm talking about. It could take above an hour. I don't know. Now, right now, my phone is at 9%, and realistically, no one waits till their phone is at 1%. So I'll put up my phone on charge again at 9%, and I'll be back with the results and on how much time it took to reach 100% on the normal charge. Now, here's the thing. This was not exactly surprising. I kind of should have expected it. It totally skipped out of my mind that companies do this. I made a specific video on this. Product features was terms and conditions. This is the terms and conditions. You'll have to put up a specific mode, and there are chances of overheating, which is sort of what Redmi has been known for a while. And this made me realize I need to make a specific review video for this. And by video, I do not mean those benchmark scores or the regular things the YouTubers do. Things that really matter, charging your phone from 10% to 100 instead of 0 to 100. That's just how things work. The actual performance, regular day-to-day performance. I mean, switching between apps, document handling, chatting, just the regular stuff, social media scrolling, etc. And also the camera. I'll have to test these features and make a separate video on it. So up until then, just stay tuned. And just a little announcement, I'll be coming up with two series of videos. One based on the basics of a smartphone. Basics of smartphone, basically what I'll do is I'll be teaching you the basics of what a smartphone comes with, the spec sheet. How do you analyze the spec sheet just so that you can select a phone for yourself? You wouldn't have to be dependent on someone else to select a phone for you. I'll just teach you the basics and you'll be good to go. Similarly for a laptop. So if you go to an offline store, the salespeople usually try to they oversell the laptop in as if it's one of the best things in the world. But you need to know the things, you need to know the basics, and these are not too complicated. I'm not a professional in this field, but I know how to identify a device. That's what I'll be passing on to you guys. So stay tuned for that. And Thanks for watching.